ए दादा, स्पॉट देने का रे.
Good morning, and I am very thrilled to be here with you this morning. My name is Adel Sahnoun, and I am a flute player who as well like to be involved in any sort of music collaboration, whether that is teaching, running workshops, performing from world music, pop music as a classical. Music has been always my life and my passion, and I've been very fortunate to meet so many people who are absolutely incredible to learn from and share along with them this fantastic journey to grow as a musician but equally as a human being, which I think is something quite inspiring for me to share with you today. So I'm looking forward for this chat, and we're about to get started. Always wanted to learn a music instrument. I think that was right after I've watched this string quartet group of young girls. I believe I was about 8 years old, playing and having so much fun on the stage, and it was something very different at that age to experience. I was along with my dad watching that, and that picture somehow did stuck with me. So I researched, started like getting more and more interested in this, what I call, music instrument, and I tried to go and enroll and learn to play the piano. So unfortunately they said the piano class at the time was completely full, so I went back and I was having this chat with my mum, and I said, and we said, why did I not just wait till next year and go into the piano class? But my mom said, how about if you try and do the violin for this year and then see how it goes, so at least you probably learn a few things here and there during this 6 months. So I went to the violin class and I know blah blah blah, and the teacher said, I'm very sorry but the class is completely full, you would have to wait until next year's enrollment. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna have to wait this time and enroll for the piano, because that's the first thing I wanted to do. Along that I was to play the recorder, so I was accompanying the choir, school choir, on the recorder. And this friend of mine said, oh, there's this teacher who teaches the flute, and you know, he accepts literally anyone who knocks on his door. I said, oh, okay, well, I go. So at the time I've never seen this instrument before, this flute here. So I knocked on his door and I said, good afternoon sir, I'm here to learn the flute. And he asked me only one question. He said, did you come here by yourself to learn the flute, or have your parents sent you here? I said, no. I came here by myself and I played the recorder, and I started playing as fast as I could on the recorder, and I've heard there's this amazing thing called flute which is much bigger than a recorder and it's not made out of plastic, that you could learn. So he opened the box. I've never seen really a flute next to me all the way there, and I was amazed. I thought it was some sort of magic. So I believe since then it was amazing love story, me and the flute. Yeah, I cannot imagine a day without it. In classical music and in orchestras, we have four different sections. They're the string, the woodwind, the brass, and the percussion. Now, the flute here, this one is made out of silver, belongs to the woodwind section. It's a little bit weird, isn't it? I mean, it's not made out of wood. However, the sound of it blends in very well with the woodwind section. Now, the flute really took over and became a prominent instrument during the Baroque period. Before that, the recorder was the leading instrument during the Renaissance. Go into the Baroque era, the flute became very popular. I mean, thanks to Quantz, an amazing composer who was employed in the court of Frederick the Greatest, along with C.P. Bach, has written an incredible amount of music and built this D-sharp key that you can see over here. So back then, all the flute was completely made out of wood, a little bit close to Bansuri and taller, but it only had one silver key, which is this one here that you can see. But the sound was very small and the intonation were very tricky to control. In 1848, there were a little bit, of course, a bit of improvement here and there, but the biggest one that was in 1848 by Theopold Boehm, who built this flute, which we call the Boehm flute that we use today. So one of the reasons to have keys in those instruments is to avoid the crossing fingers that we used to have back in the day. So literally you used to do that, for example, for F, you do that, and go to E, and you do that. So there was lots of complicated things, and the sound was as well very small, because as you could see, like in 1848, that was just the first half of the Romantic period. The size of the orchestras has grown thanks to Beethoven. So we needed more sound, and of course the technical aspect, the players, has grown. Art again is a platform for expression, and we always say the best performer are the performers who can tell a story, and fulfilling a story is a story that has complete complexity and paradox of emotion. It's all this diverse moment within split second. Is happiness and crying and laughter and grief, and art can do that, really. My message to all music students embarking on learning an instrument is find a way, find your voice through this instrument. When we start playing an instrument, or we start actually painting or dancing, it is always throughout the history that we imitate our heroes. And this is good for a while, because within that, eventually all these influences makes you who you are. But try to, within that, develop your voice as quickly as possible and find some conviction in what you deliver, and let your heart comes across when you play, I would say. Um, the industry of art has evolved so much, to the point that we call it nowadays the world of entertainment, which means, in my understanding, that every move that you do make on the stage matter. If we look, for example, at the music back in a few years ago, if we take 15 or almost 20 years ago, we used to call like a music degree in the flute or piano or whatever instrument it is. Nowadays, it's moved to performance. And that actually explains quite a lot. I know a lot of people do not agree, but I personally love that prospect, because you understand your presence on the stage, your connection with the audience, and how you give and survive on the stage. And opportunities, yeah, I believe, I mean, as a young teenager, when I started performing, I never restricted myself to any specific stage or platform or occasion to perform, but I actually played in the neighborhood. I took my flute and I practiced in the parks when my neighbor were knocking. um, and I tried to connect, because I think through music you can really connect. I believe everyone should really try and learn music instrument, because music is there not only for us to become musicians, but it is there for us to help us connect deeply with ourselves, to be in harmony, to become better at whatever we want to do eventually, even if it's not music. But I hope everyone can understand and put themselves forward and take this, give it some really serious thought and a bit of hard work to enjoy it, because you really cannot enjoy, I would say, playing an instrument if you do not get rid of this small technical aspect or difficulties, because they will restrict the way you want to say things and tell your story. And talking about art is a very complex conversation, because anything really that moves you in any sort of way that and make you react, I personally refer to it as art. Now the philosophical question comes, is whether does it have to be beautiful or ugly. uh, it is really hard to define what is beauty, because if we consider that every experience that we go through allows us to tell a story in a different way, that means all the feelings are good. And would that allow us again to see beauty through tears and laughter? Um, there are some people or artists who would like to refer to art as beautiful thing here that comes and cheer you up, or but I always think that art is really that something that makes you move, that has an impact on you. And one of the most beautiful thing I like is the comfort that you get. So for example, I'll just try to illustrate a bit more, so this would hopefully make sense to you all. um, in moments of sadness, you try to listen or play or perform a very dramatic act, whether as an actor or a dancer or musician. However, within that dramatic sadness, moment of despair, this performance will give you so much comfort for you to go through. And I do not think that there are any anything else more extraordinary than that. I mean, I'd like to finish with this famous quote of the famous Danish author Andersen: "When words fail, music speaks."